Welcome back to another one of our conference previews in the NCAA football this year. We're moving to the Big 12, where Texas is right now the favorite. Any thoughts on Mac Brown's Longhorns?
Texas, I have them having a big year this year. I think they're going to have one or two hiccups throughout the year, though. They have high expectations coming into the season this year. I think one of the major concerns I have with Texas is going to be depth. They're going back to the spread offense this year. When they were looking at Texas last year, when they were successful last year, they pushed the ball outside a lot. They had their defenses off balance a lot. One stat I look at last year from Texas, they were 5-0 when they rushed the ball 40 times or more last year. So I think they're going to have to go back to that this year. They finished 9-4 last season. I have them 9 wins again, 9-10 win season again this year. I have them coming second in the Big 12 Conference. But the one thing that the Big 12 Conference has is anybody can win the Big 12 Conference. It
might be the deepest conference in all college football.
I think it is the deepest conference. Top to bottom. I think it's the deepest conference in football. Anybody can be there at the top when the season ends.
Now, I like Texas to win the conference. I think they could actually go undefeated. And I'll tell you why. I think they've got 19 of 22 starters back. David Ash is the Big 12's most experienced quarterback. He's made 18 starts, which is shocking. That's the most in the conference. And they're getting two of their best defensive players back. Jackson Jeffcoat, who was averaging a sack per game before he blew out his knee, and Jordan Hicks, who is their middle linebacker. And then they return receivers Jackson Shipley and Mike Davis. And they've also had some of the top recruiting classes for running backs lately. And Jonathan Gray and Malcolm Brown could both have big games. As you mentioned, they do extremely well when they run the ball a lot. So hopefully they do that a lot, because they could be very successful with their line and running backs. Last season, their losses were to West Virginia, Oklahoma, TCU, and Kansas State. I expect down years from West Virginia, Oklahoma, and Kansas State. The big question for me is Baylor and TCU. I think those are the teams that could cause them hiccups. But I'm going to go and say undefeated, 12-0. Now let's move to the Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma Sooners, they had a down year last year. They lost a lot of guys. I think last year was their year. I think they had everything built for last year. They finished 10-3. They lost most of their secondary coming back this year. One key guy they do have coming back is Aaron Colvin, the DB. One good thing about Oklahoma is they have an experienced offensive line. They have explosive players at skill spots. But I think the one question for me with Oklahoma is going to be Blake Bell,
who lost the starter's job to Trevor Knight. So that's going to be a very interesting thing for the Sooners moving forward. Bell, of course, was their short yardage back last year at 6'6" and almost 260 pounds. But they do have depth at running back in Trey Millard and Damian Williams. But again, it's a rebuilding year. You're moving to a quarterback that has not made any starts. What's your record prediction?
Well, I have them finishing third. They're going to be, I think, 9-3. I think they're going to be in there 8, 9, maybe 10 wins.
8-4. Yep.
So they're going to be there.
Now let's go to a team that you're very high on, Mike Gundy's Oklahoma State Cowboys.
The Cowboys are my pick to win the Big 12 this year. I think they were in a little bit of a rebuild last year. One thing I like about them is the timing when they play certain opponents this year. I think it suits them quite well.
They have a lot of their defense back, 9 starters with 6 on the offense back.
I think last year they were the best 8-5 team in the country. They lost a shootout to Texas last year. They also lost on the road last year to Oklahoma, Baylor, and Kansas State. They bring in this year Mike Urich. He's going to be the new offensive coordinator this year. They have a couple of different quarterbacks they can go to this year. One key they do have is offensive lineman Lane Johnson. I think he's going to be a stud this year.
He's been drafted by the Eagles.
Oh, my bad. I was a little bit late on that one. One thing I look at, though, their second-ranked defense. They got the second-ranked defense. They had 44 takeaways last year. 5 of their 9 Big 12 games are at home this year. So I think Oklahoma State. I think they're my pick this year to win the Big 12.
And here's a team that I think could be a very healthy team, healthy record. TCU, I think they can compete for second place in the division behind Gary Patterson's team. They have 15 returning starters, 9 on defense, and Casey Patchell returns after suspension and rehab following a DUI towards the end of last season. Any thoughts on the Horned Frogs?
Like you said, I think they got a lot of guys come back this year. I have them winning 8 games. They could easily win 9. They could win 10. I'll put them down as 8-4.
8-4, 9-3. You're going to see a lot of teams in the Big 12 finish around that record. This is a very even division at the top. We move to the Baylor Bears, where Art Briles in his 6th season, and they're replacing another quarterback for the 3rd straight year. They went from RG3 to Nick Florence to Bryce Petty this year. Any thoughts on the Bears?
Well, the Baylor Bears, they're going to be in the middle of the pack this year. They have a solid list of guys come back this year. They also finished the season. They finished strong last year. I think they're if they can carry that over this year. I don't see them being in the elite group with the Oklahoma States, Texas. I don't think they're going to be up there. But like we said earlier, anybody can win this division. It wouldn't surprise me if Baylor was there at the end, but I don't see them being there in the end.
I feel that Baylor will be there at the end. I think they're going to finish 10-2. I think Lockie Seastrong could possibly be the leading rusher in the conference. The question is the defense. They allowed 37.2 points a game, and that includes 70 against West Virginia last year in a game they lost 70-63. But they did beat UCLA 49-26 in the bowl game and held Jonathan Franklin, who rushed for over 1,700 yards, to under 50. So if the Bears improve their defense, they could go far in the Big 12. We'll move now to last year's conference champions, the Kansas State Wildcats, led by Bill Snyder in his 2nd stint and 22nd overall. Any thoughts on the Wildcats?
Well, they got a lot of returnees come back on offense this year. That's only going to help them. I think the key with the Wildcats is going to be their defense. They're going to go as far as their defense. I have them with the 8-win total this year.
Agree. I have a 7-5 record. The big question is who replaces Colin Klein. He was a Heisman finalist last year and was really their best player on the field. Now let's go to Texas Tech, where they hired their former quarterback from 98 to 2002, Cliff Kingsbury. Any thoughts on the Red Raiders?
I think they're going to have a high-octane offense this year. That's one thing about the Red Raiders. They can score a lot of points. Again, I think it's going to be can they stop people? I have them in the 500 area, 6-6.
I agree, 500. And you know that Kingsbury is going to love to throw that ball around. It could be a very exciting team to watch. But again, how good is their defense going to be? Let's move now to Kansas, where Charlie Weis might have had the quote of the year at Big 12 Media Day this year, when he said that, I'm paraphrasing, that players should come play for Kansas because have you seen what they have out on the field last season? That was a team that won 1-11. So any thoughts on the Jayhawks?
I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to slowly get better. They got their first Big 12 win in a few years last year. I think they're going to be competitive. I don't think they're going to get blown out a lot. I think they're, like I said, they're going to be competitive. But they're going to be on the losing end of those games. I don't see them winning too many. I think I have them predicted for last in the conference.
I agree, but I do think they double their win total to 2, which is a slight improvement, but you have to wonder how long Charlie Weis can have a job for there. We'll move now to Iowa State, where Paul Rhodes is in his 5th year. They went 3-6 in the conference play last year and 6-7 overall. Any thoughts on the Cyclones?
The bad thing about the Cyclones, they have a tough schedule this year. A lot of key dates for them are on the road. They don't have a lot of returning guys back, so when you get into those road games, I think it's going to hurt. I see them in the 2 to 3 win area. I have them finishing just above Kansas, so I have them finishing 9th in the conference.
I agree. I think that they're looking for one of the bottom 3 spots. I have them going 5-7. Iowa State always seems to upset someone at home, so it'd be interesting to see who that will be. But let's finish now in West Virginia. There's their 2nd year in the conference behind head coach Dana Holgerson. They went 7-6 last year. So any thoughts for the Mountaineers?
I think they have the pretty favorable schedule for West Virginia. Not many returnees on defense. That's going to hurt them. I think, like we mentioned, they're going to be part of the bottom three with Kansas and Iowa State.
They're replacing a lot of offense in Geno Smith, Tavon Austin, and Stedman Bailey.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of a loss with those guys gone. So I think they're going to struggle this year.
It's a rebuilding year for them, but Holgerson seems to be one of the brighter minds on offense in college football.
Yeah.
So I like their future.
I like them to get in anywhere 3-4 win total, but like I said,
4-8.
in the bottom three of the Big 12.
So we'll see who wins the Big 12. I have Texas. Joe has Oklahoma State. Tell us who you think in the comments section. We'd love to hear what you think.